What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues in San Francisco, a.k.a. the verified one at Tim Geddes.
Let Tim host. It feels good to be back with you, Greg. Our first Games Daily in months.
And that's the thing. It was a YouTube comment, right? Wasn't it? Was it a Reddit comment? Somebody pointed out that you and I hadn't done the show. It was a show you did or I did, and it was another show that isn't Greg and Tim. And I was like, "Listen here, you stupid fuckface!" And I went to the calendar to look at the run, and I was like, "Oh man, motherfucker, we haven't hosted this show together."
Turns out, fuckface was right.
He was a smart fuckface after all. This fucking coward over there pushing pencils. Yeah, no, he turned. So this is for you, smart fuckface. There you go. You made this happen because Gary would have dropping out, of course. You know what I mean? He's all, I got to do a whole bunch of writing, and I also have a very popular Animal Crossing talk show that Danny Trejo is on now. Elijah Wood is on now.
Congratulations. We're real excited for you.
We're so proud of you, Gary. It's such a cool idea to see our successful friends keep doing successful things and really great ideas take off and be supported in a time when we all need more good stuff. Oh, Gary, he's as bad as smart fuckface over there.
Yeah.
Pissing me off left and right, Tim. But I'll tell you what, Tim. You picked a hell of a day to team up with me, all right? Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's not even time to bullshit around. Apparently, PS5 is going to drive PCs. The PS5 isn't delayed. Unreal Engine 5 is coming very soon. There's just too much news, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to get into it all on probably a long episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily, because that's what we do each and every weekday. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, you should be part of the show. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can give us your questions, comments, concerns, your squad up requests, and everything under the video game sun. Of course, on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, you can get the show ad-free along with the post show we do each and every weekday. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can watch us live right there. And if you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. And plus, remember, if you're watching on Twitch, or maybe you're listening to the podcast version afterwards, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. It gives you a free Twitch sub to give away each and every 30 days. They don't remind you. It doesn't auto-renew. So if you've ever done it and thought it was happening in the background, it wasn't. We would love it if you gave it to Kind of Funny Games. A great way to support without actually having to fork over more cash. However, if none of that works for you, you can get the show, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every weekday. Some housekeeping before we get into a rock block of giant news stories. First off, thank you all so much. We did it. We won the Gamers versus Cancer American Cancer Society tournament that the American Cancer Society was hosting. Of course, I represented the University of Missouri, my alma mater. We were able to beat UCLA in the finals. That means that, yes, they are giving Mizzou a trophy that I won them, that they have to display, or I will burn Mizzou to the ground.
Greg Miller once again beating cancer.
I know, right?
You'll love to see it.
You love
now you got a trophy for it. You didn't get a trophy last time.
I know, yeah, nothing. Last time I just got my life back. But this time I get to put something in Mizzou that they can't get rid of until they need the space for something else. And I'm very excited about that. But thank you all so much. You came out and supported. You helped fundraise. You went out there and donated your money, your time. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for taking care of an organization that means so much to me. And, of course, a school that means so much to me. Tomorrow, speaking of things that mean a lot to me, Sucker Punch has a state of play for Ghost of Tsushima. Remember, that is at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We will be live reacting to it on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and then our live reactions will post to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames after. Go ahead, Tim.
Is this the first time Sony's used state of play for a single game focus thing? Because they launched state of play, and we got a couple of them, and then we got the Death Stranding trailer, kind of like it had its own thing, but it wasn't a state of play.
Yeah.
Remember?
The only one I don't want to turn. No, this is. I was going to say the only one. I was going to look up the thing because if you remember, we had a long conversation recently on PS I Love You about is State of Play dead? Was that just a 2019 thing? No, though I was going to check the Last of Us one. Remember, they promoted the Last of Us and showed Last of Us and did the trailer and drop for it that announced the first release date, but that also had other stuff in it. So yeah, this is. I'm looking back here. State of Play in March obviously was March 25th, 2019. Iron Man VR, No Man's Sky VR, Concrete Genie, and more. State of Play May 9th was Predator Hunting Grounds, Medieval's release date, Final Fantasy VII trailer. State of Play September 25th was Last of Us release date, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, glimpse at more Death Stranding stuff. And then, yeah, they had the one in December.
The Resident Evil 3 one.
Yeah. That wasn't just about Resident Evil 3. So no, this is the first state of play they're using, and it's very fascinating to see it back because again, it was a conversation on PS I Love You of like, wait, they framed the original state of play when you read about it as a 2019 initiative. What does that mean for 2020? Did COVID and the pandemic and everything else screw that up and how they're going to use it? So to see them come out now, very Nintendo Direct like, right? And be like, all right,
it's exciting to me. Yeah. Because I've said this a million times, but Nintendo Direct took many iterations to be able to find its groove to become the success and fun thing that it is. And I feel like State of Play has been working through those growing pains, and taking this type of stance is, I think, a good move. And it's just like, I want State of Play to be able to be more than just the thing that it was before.
100%. One thing I want to say here too, while we're talking about doing the State of Play live reactions tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific time, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, is a lot of people were hitting me up last night into this morning of, are you guys going to do a reaction to the Summer Games Fest announcement today, which obviously we're going to talk about here in a second in the news? And the answer was yes, of course we did. It's hard to say, you can't paint with a completely broad brush, Tim, but for the most part, if there's something that's being teased of, we're doing a big announcement of something tomorrow that's video games related, we're going to live react to it, right?
We're gonna feel it out to the best of our abilities of if we think it's valuable for us to react to it, if it makes sense. Because I think there's going to be a lot of things that are more interview focused that don't really make sense for us to live react to, because that's just us talking over other people talking in a way that there's not visuals being shown.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, definitely stay tuned to the Summer Game Fest schedule. And if it makes sense for Kind of Funny to cover it, we will be covering it live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames and youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mohammed, Momo, Blackjack, and the Predator, Al Tribesman. Remember, of course, Al Tribesman came and played Predator with us during one of our sponsored Predator Hunting Ground streams. That's up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames right now. Today, we're brought to you by Hims, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 6 items on the Roper Report. And I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, pour a cup of coffee, pack a lunch, because you're going to be here a while. This is a jam-packed Roper Report. Number one spans a whole bunch of different stuff. So as I already mentioned, Epic today was the Summer Games Fest with Keighley announcement, right? Announcing Unreal Engine 5, having a very beautiful demo. We're going to talk about that, but we live reacted to that. That is up right now. You could go watch our whole live reactions to it. So I'll summarize that. However, since then, 2 different reports have come out here. One from The Verge, one from IGN. And I wanted to read and lead with that, Tim, because it's talking about how powerful the PS5 is. I'm going to read from the first one here from Nick Statt at The Verge. Epic CEO Tim Sweeney says the PS5 is so impressive, it's, quote, going to help drive future PCs. Epic CEO Tim Sweeney says next-generation gaming consoles, in particular Sony's PlayStation 5, will bring about changes in game development that go far beyond a jump in graphics quality. During a press briefing for the company's newly announced Unreal Engine 5, which is optimized to work with next-gen consoles, Sweeney says the PS5 is a, quote, remarkably balanced device. It has an immense amount of GPU power, but also multi-order bandwidth increase in storage management. That's going to be absolutely critical, he says. It's one thing to render everything that can fit in memory, he adds, but a much more impressive feat to render a world that, quote, might be tens of gigabytes in size, almost instantaneously. As Sony's new console and its M.2 solid-state drive are promising. Quote, we've been working super close with Sony for quite a long time on storage, he says. The storage architecture on the PlayStation 5 is far ahead of anything you can buy on I'm double checking my quote here. The storage architecture on the PS5 is far ahead of anything you can buy on anything on PC for any amount of money right now. Jesus. It's going to help drive future PCs. The PC market is going to see this thing ship and say, oh, wow, SSDs are going to need to catch up with this, end quote.
Wow, Tim Sweeney, you Sony fanboy.
Swinging fucking hard. And he's got more with Matt Kim coming up, but I'll get there in a second. The new drive, which Sony claims is faster than any on-market device available right now, won't just make load times almost non-existent, but will also enable developers to access the data their games are composed of with unprecedented speed. The result is larger game worlds loading much faster than ever before, which could result in drastic changes on how developers approach everything, from balancing visual quality and performance to level design. Sweeney isn't saying you can't get a compatible M.2 drive. And am I saying that right, Tim? Kevin?
M.2.
Yeah, okay. M.2 drive for your PC. Even now, if you want to shell out for it. Rather, he's saying the custom drive Sony created and the way it interacts with the overall PS5 data management system makes it faster and more impressive from a development standpoint than anything a consumer could readily buy today, especially considering PC developers aren't yet building games that take advantage of such speeds. That may change in the future when both new consoles arrive and, as Sweeney predicts, inspire significant upgrades to PC component design and PC-specific game development. Sweeney isn't taking Sony's word for it either. He and the engineers at Epic are using the consoles themselves. Sweeney says the two companies have been working closely together during the development of Unreal Engine 5 and the PS5, ensuring that Epic's game development tool sets for developers creating next-gen titles is optimized for the hardware that software will ultimately run on. The UE5 demo released this morning was even running on an early PS5 console, and Epic captured the quite remarkable footage straight from the device itself. As for Microsoft's Xbox Series X, Sweeney isn't saying the new Xbox won't be able to achieve something similar. Both are using custom SSDs that promise blazing speeds. But he says Epic's strong relationship with Sony means the company is working more closely with the PlayStation creator than it does with Microsoft on this specific area. Regardless, words of such strong encouragement from Sweeney, who's been in the industry for decades and has seen every jump, both iterative and groundbreaking, seems to suggest the new consoles will offer benefits most consumers and developers will have to experience to realize. Whew. That's a lot to take in, Tim, but it's all fucking making me hard as a rock.
Totally, man. There's a lot of exciting stuff here. I think it's very interesting that they did show it on a PlayStation 5 and not the Xbox Series X. We've seen so much more of the Series X so far, and at least heard so much more about it. And it's, to me, very exciting to see something running on a PlayStation 5, even if it's not a Sony-specific thing, and not that this is unique to PlayStation 5. Obviously, Unreal 5 is going to be available everywhere. Some interesting things about this, though, is this demo was originally supposed to be shown off at GDC. Another thing that came from the news after we tuned out, but during the interview, they were saying that like it was going to be a playable demo at GDC. Like that, what we saw is playable, and that we would have been able to play it. Like that is the craziest thing about anything we saw today, is that that's a fact, right?
Yeah.
I think that him talking so much about how not just him, but Epic and Sony have
Tim Sweeney
been working together. I think that this, you more than anybody know the PlayStation 3 and the cell processor, all that stuff of like how difficult that was to create games for the system. I love that this sounds like Sony's even more doubling down on making sure that Unreal, which is one of the most important engines to be able to run efficiently on your system, is going to be optimized with the PS5 in mind. It's the engine in mind, right? Like, all of that adds up to very, very, very exciting stuff that, I went back and watched the Unreal 4 reveal trailer thing that came out in like 2012. And it's beautiful, obviously. And in some ways, like, games haven't hit that. But in so many other ways, it's like, I'm so impressed when I play games often now, where like I'm still wowed playing PS4 games, Xbox One X games. Like they're just so mind-blowingly beautiful, where it's like, how is this a video game? Like, how is this playable? And a lot of it does remind me of what I saw in the Unreal Engine 4 thing. So I feel like that's kind of what's exciting me about this new thing we just saw today, where it's like, sure, games might not look exactly like that immediately, or even in 5 years exactly, but I think they're going to be equally interesting and mind-blowing in different ways.
Well, it's also that idea, hold on. I want to talk about that demo. Let me get there. I want to add in just a few more comments that Sweeney made that Matt Kim at IGN reported. Then I want to talk about the demo we saw and what exactly the Unreal news was, in case we're your first taste of this today. Back to Matt Kim, though, right? I think it might have been the same call, might have been a different. They might have had him in different roundtables. Doesn't matter. More Sweeney quotes that Matt got. I think, first of all, Sony has a massive, massive increase in graphics performance compared to previous generations. But, I guess we get that every generation, Sweeney joked. But Sony's made another breakthrough that in many ways is more fundamental, which is a multi-order magnitude increase in storage bandwidth and reduction in storage latency. The PS5 puts a vast amount of flash memory very, very close to the processor. So much that it really fundamentally changes the trade-offs that games can make and stream in. And that's absolutely critical to this kind of demo. This is not just a whole lot of polygons in memory. It's also a lot of polygons being loaded every frame as you walk around through the environment. And this sort of detail you don't see you don't see in the world would absolutely not be possible at any scale without these breakthroughs that Sony's made. Then Matt writes, Sweeney says this Sony's storage architecture is far ahead of, quote, the best SSD solution you can buy on a PC today. And so it's really exciting to be seeing the console market push forward the high-end PC market in this way, end quote. So now, if you missed all this as part of Summer Game Fest, the Jeff Keighley joint, and then just on all the channels, they announced Unreal Engine 5 and then put out this demo. I'm going to read from the press release here. I'm going to stumble because they use a lot of crazy PC words that I don't understand. Epic Games today announced a first look at Unreal Engine 5. One of Epic's goals in this next generation is to achieve photorealism on par with movie CG and real life, and put it within practical reach of development teams of all sizes through highly productive tools and content libraries. The reveal was introduced with Lumen in the Land of Nanite, a real-time demo running live on PlayStation 5 to showcase Unreal Engine technologies that will free creators to reach the highest level of real-time rendering detail in the next generation of games and beyond. The demo previews 2 of the new core technologies that will debut in Unreal Engine 5. Nanite virtualized micro polygon geometry frees artists to create as much geometric detail as the eye can see. Nanite virtualized geometry means that film quality source art comprising hundreds of millions or billions of polygons can be imported directly into Unreal Engine. Anything from ZBrush sculpts to photogrammetry scans to CAD data, and it just works. Nanite geometry is streamed and scaled in real time, so there are no more polygon count budgets, polygon memory budgets, or draw count budgets. There is no need to bake details into normal maps or manually author LODs, and there is no loss in quality. Lumen is a fully dynamic global illumination solution that immediately reacts to the scene and light changes. The system renders diffuse interreflection with infinite bounces and indirect specular reflections in huge, detailed environments at scales ranging from kilometers to millimeters. Artists and designers can create more dynamic scenes using Lumen. For example, changing the sun angle for time of day, turning on a flashlight, or blowing a hole in the ceiling, and indirect lighting will adapt accordingly. Lumen erases the need to wait for light map bakes to finish and author light map UVs. Huge time savings when an artist can move a light inside Unreal Editor and lighting looks the same as when the game is run on console. Numerous teams and technologies have come together to enable this leap in quality. To build large scenes with nanite geometry. It's not maybe it is geometry. Technology. Epic's team made heavy use of Quixel Megascans library. Quixel Megascans library, which provides, it's like I'm trying to send somebody back to the 5th dimension, or somebody's trying to send me to the 5th dimension, which provides film quality objects up to hundreds of millions of polygons. To support vastly larger and more detailed scenes than previous generations, PlayStation 5 provides a dramatic increase in storage bandwidth. The demo also showcases existing engine systems such as Chaos Physics and Destruction, Niagara VFX, Convolution Reverb, and Ambisonics rendering.
So the Convolution Reverb is a really cool thing where it sounds and it's trying to make sure that the sound sounds correct in terms of whatever area it's in. So with the echo and where sound would bounce off, so it really feels more immersive of where you're at. And like that, that's the type of thing where it's like what they showed off in the demo here that was really impressive was the audio matched the visuals, and that's really what makes these things feel real. It's like, you know, that when we're pushing the boundaries of breaking through that uncanny valley of environments, not just like character faces and stuff. Like that is the thing that tricks you, is when you have the sound and visuals adding up to a thing that you can't differentiate from real life.
Right.
And what this convolution reverb, in the sense that they're talking about it here, there's like unlimited amounts of bounces that the sound can have throughout these caverns or throughout hallways or throughout whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like that is super interesting. A lot of this reminds me of the Mark Cerny thing, but this to me is how you should have shown that off.
I was going to say, you say that, but again, they showed it, and it was that thing again, Lumen in the Land of Nanite. If you just go to Unreal Engine's YouTube page, you can find it. It's embedded everywhere in a million different places. Like I said, kindoffunny.com has the reaction up.
But there's a Vimeo link that you can go to that has the full 4K. Vimeo is the best way you can find the quality. It's better than YouTube and all that. And it's mind blowing. Like it's breathtaking to see and hear as well.
And to your point, right? Like the Cerny stuff I'm watching, I know is important. I know I see developers getting excited about it. Most of it's Greek to me, right? I understand. Okay, it loads faster, does this. It's great. This thing, if they would have just put out the press release, it would have been like, okay, cool. Yeah. Photogrammetry. Got it. Okay. But I don't know what any of that means. Watching that demo and having them zoom in on pebbles, right, come out, having them blow open the ceiling at parts and the light come through, having it do what you're talking about, where they're like, oh, and it also works for audio, and like a rock tumbles way over down the cavern to the right, and you hear it like, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of shit that works when you want to talk about show don't tell, and you want to explain why this is a big deal, and you do want to, really come in and I would say torpedo the argument that you've heard so much of like, well, how much better can graphics be next gen? Like, what are we actually talking about? What is it going to look like? And to the point we've been making on all these different things of, especially coming out of that Xbox teaser last week with third parties, right? Where everybody's like, these games don't look that much next gen. It's important to point out everything they're talking about here. Unreal Engine 5 will be available in preview in early 2021 and in full release in late 2021, supporting next-gen consoles, current-gen consoles, PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. Epic is designing for forward compatibility so developers can get started with next-gen development now in UE4 and move projects to UE5 when ready. So again, it's that idea that this is next gen where we're talking about years from now. Like, you know what I mean?
That's what next gen is, right?
Oh, I'm not saying no.
Exactly. But I think that's kind of the thing that's exciting about this. It's like, there's no way we just out the gate are going to have these like spectacle games. That's just not how this works. But I am interested that this is partnering and kind of revealed so much with PlayStation 5. Like for all intents and purposes, and if I remember correctly, this is the first time we've seen a game running on PlayStation 5. Like we've seen like the Godfall trailer and stuff like that, but like this is like first time we've seen like real just gameplay of PlayStation 5.
It's definitely the longest straight through gameplay we've seen of PlayStation 5.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what other examples there would be. But what I find interesting about that is, Unreal is just a lot of games are played on both Xbox and PlayStation using Unreal Engine 4 currently. But when we're talking about like the first party titles, like I don't know too much about this stuff, but like, the Decima engine, obviously with Death Stranding and Horizon, Last of Us doesn't use Unreal.
Naughty Dog uses their
own thing. And so it's like, that's interesting to me that it's like, this is what like third party potential games can look like,
and that's the thing really about exciting. It. Where we get to bring the Xbox event from last week back into this conversation. I always talk about when we want to talk about Spider-Man, or you want to talk about something from Naughty Dog, or you want to talk about how good Ghost looks. I always, especially Spider-Man, I remember sitting there talking about this is what happens when you let a developer focus on one platform. They get to build an exclusive, which obviously exclusives are good or bad depending on if you have the machine or care about it. But this is what holds third-party stuff back, is third-party stuff does have to sit there. And how do we make it run on everything? What do we do? How do we figure this out? Like, you have to balance all these different things. And Epic's whole goal, both with Unreal and then all of their different policies they've been rolling out, which there's still more to talk about, has been to democratize that and get it everywhere and try to get you to have these experiences as good as possible, no matter where you're playing. And I think this is the next step to, you look at that game and sure, it's running on a PlayStation 5, but that can also run on a PC and an Xbox and look that good. And so you start having these questions and conversations of, if you're using Unreal 5, you're using the specific tools in the right ways or whatever, are you going to start getting games that look as good as an exclusive game, right? That like that, because you look at that and you run around, you're like, oh man, look at all the rocks and all. And I know how stupid that sounds, but you're a video game player, you fucking know what I mean. You're looking at all the rocks that are happening in this demo they've shown, and it's like, wow, that looks so great in the clarity. And it's like, well, I've seen similar things in Uncharted, but then it's that thing of like, sure, you've seen them in Uncharted. When I play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, a game I fucking adore and think is beautiful, how many times is Cassandra just standing on an invisible thing that's not there? You know what I mean? How many times do I run over a flat texture of grass or whatever? Because guess what? This is the open world, and they're not going to spend that kind of resource right out here to make it matter. You have these set pieces you need to make matter.
I do want to reiterate something, because a lot of people in the chat are saying, like, is it gameplay or scripted action being rendered live? This was a tech demo disguised as a game. They said the Unreal tech demo was going to be playable at GDC, and they said that for this one, this was a PlayStation 5 being like playing it via an HDMI port. Like this was a game. Like this was gameplay. Like that's the like a huge takeaway from this, is that was not just a tech demo like we've seen previously for like when they did the Unreal 4 reveal. Like that was a tech demo. This was a game.
Yeah,
it's not a game that's going to come out, and it is a tech demo, but it's a gameplay that is playable. Like that is so crazy impressive to me. And like what Greg Miller,
do you think, just as a quick aside, and I'm throwing you off your track, I'm sorry, do you think this could end up being a game? Because I think everybody watched this today was like, holy fuck, I'd play that.
Totally, but I also think that it was designed to show off all the things that they needed it to show off. And if this ended up being a game, I think it'd be radically different than this.
Sure.
Also, like, who would be making this game? Epic? I kind of doubt it. I don't think that they're gonna be making it like that type of game ever going forward.
Just drop $1 million, $1,000 or whatever the hell on somebody. You got money coming in left and right over there, Tim Sweeney. You don't care.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, I don't know. It'd be ridiculous if they would actually do that. I'd be stoked about it, but it's just like that doesn't make a lot of business sense. Like they'll have other people prove the value of Unreal Engine 5, right? Making the games that they're already planning to make.
Yeah.
But you know, something that I'm really interested in is what this means for the timeline of things, of what could have been. Like it's almost an exercise that doesn't even need to be done, because here we are talking about next gen, talking about like the reveals and rollouts, and everyone has their opinions one way or another. Oh, is Sony being too quiet? Oh, they're definitely being too quiet. What the fuck, Sony? When are you saying things? It's kind of fun to look back now and be like, wow, they were gonna do that Mark Cerny GDC talk, boring as fuck as it was and very poorly presented as it still is to this day. They were gonna do that at GDC. They were also gonna have this at GDC. There was also gonna be PlayStation 5's playable at GDC, right? So you start adding that up, and it's just like, the PlayStation 5 was going to actually have a lot more shit shown and talked about.
Sure.
Back when the Wired articles were coming out and all that around GDC.
Yeah.
And all the Corona stuff obviously shifted all those plans. But I wonder where things would have fell otherwise, and where, of course, now they're going to fall now that this is all kind of like still rolling out and all out there. And the other side of that is I actually think this is really exciting that it's coming out now. Like, I think it's very cool that Kind of Funny's excited about Unreal Engine 5. Right? Like, I feel like that's something that we, like you said earlier, if this was just a blog post, we wouldn't care. We would have
read through it and like, okay.
It would kind of fall down to what, at the end of the day, even watching the video breaks down to, which is cool. That's a lot of words I don't understand, but what I do understand is it's going to make the things I like better. Exactly. Like, that's really all you need to know. But watching this, it's like, fuck, this is next gen. Like, this is very exciting for third parties, but really this just gets me more excited than I've been previously about PlayStation 5, because we've seen Jason Schreier saying like, oh, everyone I'm talking to saying PS5 really does have like some secret sauce to it. And it's just like that. I want to see this and the secret sauce and the PlayStation 5 applied to the next God of War, the next Horizon, the next Naughty Dog game. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I want to bring in Midnight Owl here. Midnight Owl wrote into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, to be part of the show, and says, hey guys, the announcement from today's showcase was Unreal 5. Personally, I'm excited about this, as a lot of my favorite games are developed using the Unreal Engine, and always had me thinking, when will the new engine come out? I would like your opinion on a few things. Number one, as with all tech demos, should we temper our expectations? I still remember seeing the demo for Unreal 4 that was first announced, and I would need to go back and watch it, but I still don't think games have reached that level. So this is something we touched on, Tim. You just went back and watched the Unreal 4 demo. Do you think, did we get there eventually?
I mean, like I said earlier, I think for all intents and purposes, we did. Like, I don't think that it in every way, but I think that when you start to look at games and where Unreal Engine 4 can be in so many ways, yes. I think that Final Fantasy VII Remake's a good example, where that game is utterly gorgeous. It has a lot of texture problems.
Yeah, so it's like look at the Horizon, it's flat as hell.
in a lot of different ways, it's like it did work, but in a lot of others, it's like, oh, but it didn't do this, and this that it said. But it did so many other things that weren't talked about in the original demo, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's beautiful. And it's like, that's, to me, I think the exciting bit about this is I look at what they showed today, and I don't think that is an example of exactly what we're going to get. But this isn't a Killzone 2 situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Should we temper our expectations? Of course you should, because I think what a lot of people will walk away from that is that's next gen. That's what next gen is going to look like. And then at launch, when maybe only Halo Infinite and whatever Sony's first party stuff looks a little bit like that, everybody's going to be all like ready to shit all over Valhalla, right? Which was 30 frames per second yesterday. Everybody flipped the fuck out. Like, this is a long game. This is, we're talking about a generation cycles, right? You're talking about 7-8 years with this console or these consoles. You're going to be seeing this pay off when everybody has this and understands Unreal and keeps going. Like as with every console, as we get ready for The Last of Us Part 2, it's those games that are in the final breaths of the console that actually look the most amazing.
I mean, I actually feel like you shouldn't temper your expectations. You should just set them correctly. Like you should set them across a roadmap. Like I think that we should expect this, and we're going to get things similar to this. And I think we're going to sooner than the end of the console. Like we're acting like The Last of Us 2 is the only pretty game on the PlayStation 4. You know what I mean? It's just like there's so many games that are just look at God of War. That was years ago at this point.
Yeah.
That game is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I mean, Horizon before that. No, I'm with you that there's obviously beautiful games out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, cool. And those are not using Unreal, but I don't know what God of War does, but I don't think it's Unreal. But my point is, I think that they are setting expectations here that I totally expect them to hit what they're saying. All the tech that they're talking about, the use of sound, the use of the photogrammetry, the use of all that shit, that's going to happen. And it's going to make games look fantastic. Will it look exactly like that? Absolutely not. Don't expect that.
Number 2 from Midnight Owl was this. How do you guys feel about Sony cutting a deal with Epic for this? Tim Sweeney seems very eager to talk about how great the PS5 is and how this couldn't have happened without the breakthroughs PlayStation has made before having to state that all the work is shown all shown will work on next-gen consoles. It does make Sony look good in the moment, but as soon as Unreal 5 as soon as an Unreal 5 game is released on Xbox or a splash screen with the Unreal 5 is shown on Xbox trailer, it just seems pointless.
I mean, pointless to who? Like I feel like it's pointless to fanboys, sure, but sure. Like to a gamer, no, it's not pointless. This is good news. Like,
I mean, this is the same kind of way that Assassin's Creed cuts the trailer with the Xbox logos at the front and the back because they have a deal with Microsoft.
Yeah, like it's like okay, cool. You can play the game in different varying ways, and I think that what I'm excited about is there's a potential next generation that I'll be swayed more one way or another, where it's not like, oh, I'm going to play on the Xbox One X because it's more powerful. Like, I hope that there is something where it's like, oh, well, the PlayStation allows me this, and this because of the SSD stuff that I'd rather play third-party games there, right? Like, I like that idea. And this, we're talking a lot about Sony, and I feel like, to me, so much of that is because we're talking specifically about graphics and pushing the boundaries there. And we're Sony guys when it comes down to first-party titles. We're big fans of those, and Xbox hasn't had as many first-party titles that are really pushing boundaries. Having said that, they have had some great examples. Gears 5 is probably the most beautiful game I've played this gen, like period. That's on the Xbox One X, all that stuff. But like that game is ridiculously pretty. And I would say it's prettier than the God of Wars and the PlayStation games that I've played, even the exclusives, right?
Yeah. No, and that's the thing is, yeah, I think it, is this weird that they cut this deal or doing this thing? Like, no, I think it makes sense. And Epic and PlayStation have worked closely for quite some time. So it makes sense to have them working on PlayStation 5. And like you said, this starts to pull back the curtain on what the GDC reveal would have been and how much you would have known about a PlayStation 5, right? In terms of, yeah, this is our longest look at PlayStation 5 gameplay. You know what I mean? And if you count Spider-Man running on a PlayStation 5 and not showing its load times and all that shit, arguments. But I mean, again, most gameplay we've seen straight through, and it's impressive.
Have we seen that, by the way? Like publicly?
Didn't somebody have a video of it leaked somewhere? Someone put up.
I think it leaked. I don't think.
Yeah, no, Sony has not put out a thing saying here's what this looks like. No, that has not happened. I want 2 more things from the Epic press. Yeah, the press release here. Other things, just these are quick ones, not about everything else that's happening with Unreal 5. They've changed their revenue stuff here again. Starting today, game developers can download and use Unreal Engine for free as always, except now royalties are waived on the first $1 million in gross revenue per title. The new Unreal Engine license terms, which are retroactive to January 1, 2020, give game developers an unprecedented advantage over other engine license models. For more information, visit the FAQ. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
As usual, trying to get as many people you can to use your platform and give them more money. And again, what I was talking about earlier, Epic continues, I think, to be good guy Epic and pay it back. Of like, all right, cool. Fortnite just makes us money hand over fist. The engine's making us money hand over fist. Like, we don't need to nickel and dime you as much. Like, we'll get you to come here and use this service, which we're continue to iterate on, make better, try to make for everybody, right? We want you to use it, and we're going to make it financially solvent and a no-brainer, I would think, to use this.
Yeah.
The other thing,
it's a healthy industry is good for everybody. And it's great to see this. Like Unreal Engine 4 has been so important to the games industry and to the high quality AAA titles that we're talking about. And when you look over at Epic, it's interesting that they are still focused so heavily into this and to building a next generation of that engine and wanting to make sure that as many people are using it as possible, of course, to make money, but also because that results in a healthy industry that can continue to pump out the single player AAA experiences that we all love so much that, are potentially not going to be around if these tools weren't available for people to be able to push forward experiences. Like, again, I don't know all the different engines that games use, but like Hellblade's a great example to me where it's like, that was an ambitious project that I'm shocked exists in the ways that it does, where it isn't Naughty Dog that made that game, right? Like it kind of came out of nowhere being this single player like narrative experience. And I feel like that is the type of game, and it takes so much balls to attempt to try that. But if you have the tools for the job, it only helps it. I think that we'll get more Hellblades from this.
Hopefully. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's like, that's what I was talking to Andy about on the reaction, right? And because when they showed in this demo, this one statue, and they're like, there's 500 of those statues in here. None of them have any loss of quality, yada, yada, yada. And Andy flipped for that because he was saying like, you spend so much time sculpting something and then have to make the low poly model or this thing or whatever, like where it's in the background and it's supposed to replicate what it is, but it's not eating as much GPU or whatever the fuck, I don't even know, power, processing power. And then if you can just throw all these down and do it once really fucking awesomely, you get to move quicker, you get to move faster, you can get better looking games easier, which is obviously what we all want. Another thing they tossed out here that was important, cross-platform changes. Friends, matchmaking, lobby, achievements, leaderboards, and accounts. Epic built these services for Fortnite and launched them across several major platforms: PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. Now, Epic Online Services are opened up to all developers for free in a simple multi-platform SDK. Developers can mix and match these services together with their own account services, platform accounts, or Epic Game accounts, which reach the world's largest social graph with over 350 million players and their 2.2 billion friend connections across over 500 million devices. Fuck yeah.
I mean, dude, that's awesome, right? Again, it's like, what is next gen? And I feel like today was the first time we've seen something that shows what it can look like and sound like. But I feel like everything we've been talking about is kind of, the quality of life. And it is about what should my video game experience be? And it's all of this type of stuff, right? It is this ownership. It is smart delivery. It is all these things that are great. And I honestly feel unbelievable if you were to go back in time 10 years ago and say, hey, in 2020, like games are going to be this, 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 and this. This is one of those things. And I feel like it's another tool necessary to better the industry and to allow, like more synergy between all these different companies, developers, publishers, and it incentivizes people to want to do the right thing.
And again, I think it's back to Epic taking their success and using it to benefit everybody. Because when they were like, we're Fortnite and we want to be cross-player, right? And they kind of just made that happen. They willed it into existence because obviously the audience wanted it, so they were loud. But the audience always wants stuff, and they're always loud about stuff. Where the fuck SOCOM 2 remastered? I digress. It was the idea, right, of like, hey, we're here, we want this, and we're big enough as a game and company and engine, and we have the tools, and we can make it all happen.
Would Call of Duty be crossplay if Fortnite wasn't?
Exactly.
The answer is no.
No, nobody would have pushed it forward that way. We're going to move on to our next story. But before that, I just want to knock out the your wrongs here, because they're not exactly your wrongs for the most part. They're more like answering questions we asked during the thing. Number one, Final Boss Fight says, Angry Greg voice, Gary was wrong when he roasted me when I said consoles are going to be faster than PCs. Here's proof. Lo. Because Gary did make a big deal when that was said on the show. So you actually get the win there, Final Boss Fight. Gary Whitta will not cancel his Twitch channel. You win. Prof D277 says, Tim said that PlayStation first parties wouldn't really benefit from Unreal 5. One of PlayStation's first parties, Sony Bend with Days Gone, is made in Unreal 4. The next game could be using Unreal 5, and the game would be even more gorgeous.
Fantastic.
Tim Buddy says God of War on PS4 uses the Kinetica engine that was created in-house by Sony San Diego.
Oh, shout out to Kinetica.
I know, right? And then Charles Jacobson says Hellblade is in Unreal Engine 4.
I love that they call it the Kinetica engine. That is like the coolest thing.
Respect your roots. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's talk more about PlayStation 5 and PlayStation Plus killing it. We're going to start with Joe Screbbles at IGN. Sony has said PlayStation 5 remains on track for its holiday 2020 release, and game development has seen no major issues due to the COVID-19 outbreak. As part of its financial results briefing, Sony Global reiterated that its new hardware is, quote, on track for launch this holiday season. A statement on the impact of the pandemic reads, quote, although factors such as employees working from home and restrictions on international travel have presented some challenges in regards to part of the testing process and the qualification of production lines, development is progressing, end quote. From that same call, Mathew Handrahan over at Games Industry Biz, and not call actually it was just a briefing, has a more detailed look at numbers. In the year ended March 31st, 2020, Sony's Game and Network Services division earned $18.5 billion, down 14% year on year. The games division made an operating profit of $2.2 billion, down from, and it has it in yen, 311 billion the year before. So it was 238 billion, blah, blah. It's down. Sony attributed this decline to both falling hardware sales and a lack of first-party releases on the level of God of War and Spider-Man. Sales of the PlayStation 4 dropped to 1.5 million units in the fourth quarter, down from 2.6 million in Q4 2019. Sony sold 13.6 million units of the PlayStation 4 during the fiscal year overall, down from 17.8 million. Here's the big number, though. The PlayStation 4 has now sold more than 110 million units overall. Then, in terms of the whole quarantine and everything else that's going on, the key area of the games business that showed improvement was PlayStation Plus, which saw a boost in subscribers. The service now has 41.5 million subs, up 36.4 million a year ago. Big jump, Tim. 5.1. The decline of video games has contributed to the company's performance overall, with both revenue and profit falling. In the year ended March, revenue fell by 5% and profit tumbled 36%. Not shocking, as they already say. The fact that, number one, you're gearing up for PlayStation 5. Number two, the lack of giant first-party stuff. But the jump in PlayStation Plus, that's very nice. And then 110 million units overall. Nothing to shake, man.
Making it now the number 4 highest-selling console of all time. I mean, I guess it already hit that last time we heard numbers, but still, it's like, I mean, it's creeping up on number 3, Game Boy and Game Boy Color at 118 million. I don't know if the PS4 is going to hit that anytime soon.
Price drop,
but that's the thing. Depending on the strategy going forward that Sony employs with the PS5 and whatever backwards compatibility, smart delivery, whatever, like that type of stuff, if they're still incentivizing people to buy a cheaper PS4 over time, like we could see not PS2 numbers, but like a PS2 type of sell rate, past its
totally
prime life.
Yeah. Number 3, in the same vein as this, as we're talking about pandemic stuff. Phil Spencer says 2021 games are more likely to feel the pandemic. This is Mathew Olson over at US Gamer. Transparency and proactive messaging have been common threads with the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, for a while now, especially as Microsoft has geared up to launch the Series X and in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. In recent months, Spencer has been forthcoming on how the pandemic may impact software more than hardware, and recently he clarified that he thinks games planned for 2021 and beyond are being slowed more. In a Business Insider interview from last week, Spencer explains that games in the final stages of development have certain vital assets locked down that those planning to release about a year or more from now may not. Quote, through the summer, early fall, I feel pretty good about those games, says Spencer. Games that we're targeting a year from now or beyond, there'll be some more impact, or there'll be some impact, but they'll be able to react. As for particular game dev tasks that can't or aren't yet being handled via remote working solutions, Spencer points to motion capture and large audio work. The former has, quote, basically stopped, he says. Likewise, projects yet to record something like a symphonic score will probably need to wait until recording studios can reopen. Xbox is not alone in seeing issues for games several months or over a year from launch. It seems Nintendo is also likely to quietly delay some future Switch titles. Quote, It's really in those type of games that we're trying to finally get all their asset base together in terms of art production that they might have the biggest impact. Spencer concludes. The final boss fight, Tim writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, "Dear Grim," that's our couple name. Long time, first time, especially for you guys on KFGD. In a recent article on IGN, Matt Purslow, Xbox, he especially touches upon specific challenges that these studios face with aspects like mocap and orchestral audio recording. Do you think 2021 will be a dry year for video games based on this? Do you think there will be a rise in indie studios and indie games that don't need these advanced capture techniques? Will annual iterations like Madden and FIFA release the same version with minor feature updates, or will they skip a year? We'd love to know your thoughts on the trickle-down effects of this situation over the next few years. After all, will it make sense to pick up an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 if there is going to be a dearth of games for a while? As always, keep doing what you guys do, the final boss fight.
Yeah, man, this is going to suck. There's going to be a lot of effects that we're going to feel for a very long time, and I'm not entirely sure, and I don't think anyone's entirely sure when that's going to change or if it ever will. Like, I think that fundamentally the way that entertainment and content is created is never going to be the same, and we're seeing all of this, the ramifications of this already with movies, where games. We're in a weird place right now with games because we don't know next gen, so that means we don't really know the 2021 games. We have this year pretty much down, but we just don't even know the titles coming out. Whereas with movies, we have dates, we have names and titles and plans for the next couple of years, and we're already seeing all of this year's movies get pushed to next year. But the movies that were going to come out next year or the year after that should be being made now, Matrix, John Wick, we'll see when those actually are able to be made, when they get pushed to, and all of that stuff. And like that right now, even though we're having this weird hit, it's only going to get worse in the next couple of years as the fruits of the labor that is necessary to be going on right now isn't happening.
Yeah. You figured you were the easiest way to describe this is a bottleneck. Is that for video games, what he's talking about with orchestral scores, with mocap, with anything that's going on where you need that actual big studio collaboration, right? Coming back from that, it's not like you go right back to work on those projects because there were people who already had the dates beyond you booked. So now it's like, when do you fit in the stuff you pushed? When do you reschedule that? How do you fit it into this thing? What about the fact that if, let's say, Troy's your voice actor mocap guy, he was already booked on your project, but he was also booked on this. He was 50% through your project, and now when he comes back, he's booked on this. Like, it's going to be such a clusterfuck bottleneck of how do you, with the limited resources at your disposal and places to go do these. And that's the other thing too, is like, if you are in these industries, there's usually the distinct, this is where you do that kind of thing. This is where you record it. Like, Ubisoft in Toronto has a giant soundstage they built for mocap and stuff like that. Like, how do you do that when, to your point, Tim, you're trying to catch up on what you missed during the pandemic, but then also you're supposed to be doing stuff you were already supposed to be doing. Like, it's going to domino. And I do think that next year is going to be, I think next year and 2022 will be I'm not saying there'll be no games. I just think that, like, we've been spoiled for like the past, I would say 3 to 5 years with like banger after banger after banger. Even when it's like, oh, this year wasn't as good. Like last year was like, oh, last year there wasn't something that really spoke to me like really loudly, like a God of War or Spider-Man or something. There were still fucking awesome games every week, every month, right? And so it is this thing of, where will this net out in terms of AAAs are going to, throw the money around and make it happen and keep their financial results up. But a AA, where does that go? And then, to your point, do indies really step up? And suddenly is this their time to shine once again? Because, I mean, that's obviously how it was at the start of this generation, that they were filling in gaps while we were getting up to speed. But if you're not relying on that, if you are able to just make your game at home, what happens? And then on top of that, what happens with all the games that are games of service where you already invested?
Yeah, and that's a really big point. Upcoming ones like Avengers, like we'll see. But I feel like the real winners are going to be the big AAA guys that come up with creative solutions that don't need to go back to the old way of doing things and find workarounds and ways around, kind of. In a lot of ways, we're going to take hits, and good enough's going to have to be good enough. It's not going to be exactly the same, but I think a good example of talking about the orchestral side of things and like soundtracks, which are so key to these giant experiences. Like, Greg, here's a question. Like, what's the best video game soundtrack this year?
Probably Persona 5 Royal.
It's Final Fantasy VII Remake is the only answer.
Okay.
And the thing about that is there's very little actual orchestration in that. Like, so much of that was created digitally, but it sounds so good. It sounds so close. Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. I love that soundtrack. I would have sworn it was.
Some of it is there, but it's only like a handful of songs. So much of it is. I'm blanking on the words right now, but it's just like it's programming. It's like, you're able to do that with samples, and I feel like that's good enough, right? It's more than good enough. Like, a lot of people wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. Like, technology has just grown so much that's the case. What does that mean for mocap? I don't know. Like, people will have to come up with new solutions for that.
Yeah.
In terms of the indie thing, I don't think it's going to be a rise of the indies. I think that indies, it's not like, oh man, there's not AAA games, so now indie games are the video games. I think that indies have kind of just built their own track, and they've continued to kick ass on that track for
sure. But I think it's just if there's less AAA stuff grabbing spotlight, it's easier to talk about those and get clicks and get people to read your article on IGN about this independent game review.
That's true. I think that's more true in theory than in execution.
Sure.
Like, I don't think that the people that would be clicking on the AAA stuff on IGN, I think they'll just stop going to IGN.
Sure. Fair. Number 4 on the Roper Report. Fortnite is a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X launch game. This is Eddie over at GameSpot. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X have added another launch title. Epic Games has confirmed that its free-to-play battle royale game Fortnite will release at launch for both next-gen consoles. Epic did not provide any details on how Fortnite will benefit from the increased horsepower of the PS5 and Xbox Series X. However, the company did announce that it will migrate Fortnite on PS5 and Xbox Series X to the Unreal Engine 5 in the middle of 2021. Epic CEO Tim Sweeney said this move will open up new possibilities for the game. Quote, it puts a vast amount of additional power in the hands of all the creators who build Fortnite, both within Epic and the 100 million or so outside of Epic, Sweeney said during the Summer Game Fest stream. It's going to be very interesting to see what this enables the game to go, where this enables the game to go in the future. I think what we have now is a very, very small fraction of what the game will be in the future. In a blog post, Epic confirmed that Fortnite will support cross-progression with the next-gen systems, so your account, items, and progress will carry over to the PS5 and Xbox Series X. The company also reiterated that Fortnite will continue to support cross-play between all platforms, including the next-gen consoles.
I love it. I love everything about that. I love them talking about it transferring over to Unreal 5. That's cool. But more than that, it's like, great. This is something that I want to see. This is where video games should be. And like, looking back at the transition last gen, like, no way, that wasn't the case. Like, simple things like cross save, like cross progression going into like across a console for even like the same game. Like, that is such just a nice thing that should just exist and doesn't. Yeah. So to know that Fortnite, yeah, it's a this gen game, but it's also a next gen game. It's going to be there and you're going to have all your stuff. It's like, thank God, that's great.
And you'd expect nothing less from Epic, but yeah, nice to see them come out and say it, right? Big day for them.
Like that's the thing, is like, set that standard so that people have it. So, I mean, like, I can't remember the example, but I remember earlier, like when we first started Kind of Funny, there was some game that you were upset about that the new version of it, the new console version, didn't match up with your PS3 stuff.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was, but
I'm trying to think what that would be.
But it's like, that's a thing of the past at this point, right?
Black flag, right?
But it's like, so what's going to happen to Destiny? What's your thoughts on Destiny 2? When's that come to PS5 and Xbox One X series?
They've confirmed it is when. I think it'll be launch. I think you're a fool not to have it at launch, because I mean that's the whole point of those games, right? Of like, you want to be ready to go. Hold on, I'm seeing. Oh no, this is questions about something else. Sorry. I was looking at You're Wrong to see if they could tell you the game you're thinking of. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're going to get your fucking head kicked in if you're a popular game as service and you aren't going to be, hey, all your shit carries over here. Because that's such a bonehead dumb move that doesn't make any sense. I mean, because yeah, if DC Universe Online could do it PS3 to PS4, you can do it, whatever you are now, PS4 to PS5, Xbox One to Xbox Series X. Number 5 on the Roper Report, Animal Crossing is the best-selling Switch game ever in Japan. Ever! This is James Batchelor, GamesIndustry.biz. Animal Crossing New Horizons has just sold shot. Let me try all this again. I'm starting to fall apart at the end of the show. I'm going to increase the size too. Maybe it's my eyes are old. Kevin, I got those old eyes.
Greg, make it smaller. Make it smaller so your eyes get stronger. You know what I mean? Eat some carrots,
that's like lifting weights, right? I got to do like reps. So I got to like zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Animal Crossing New Horizons has sold just shy of 3.9 million copies in its home market of Japan. That makes it the best-selling game of all time on Nintendo Switch, passing previous record holder Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and its lifetime sales of 3.7 million. That's according to Famitsu's monthly sales data provided to GamesIndustry.biz, which shows Animal Crossing was Japan's best-selling game in April with 1.29 million copies sold. It fended off several new releases, including Final Fantasy VII Remake, which sold 839,000 copies. Unsurprisingly, Nintendo was the biggest selling publisher for the fifth consecutive month, shifting 1.6 million games and generating $86.4 million. That means Animal Crossing accounts for 4 out of every 5 games the platform holder sold. It's worth noting the Pokemon Company is counted separately in Japan, selling 68,207 games in April. Combine that with Nintendo, and more than 2 million first-party Switch games were sold in April. Tim,
Great.
Look at that. They don't even need you anymore. You know what I mean?
I know.
They got Animal Crossing. They're not going to put out anything else this year because they're just going to keep eating it.
Yeah. Do you see Jeff Grubb put out his like little like Jeff Grubb predictions of his Summer Game Fest, whatever?
I haven't seen the Jeff Grubb presents Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Fest predictions.
I'm going to pull this up. I want to pull this up. Give me 1 secundo.
I'm going to shout out number 6 then because it's a super short one. Okay. Final story on the Roper Report. Square won't do a showcase this year. Instead, they're going to do smaller events for their games. This is Bloomberg's Takashi Mochizuki. Square Enix said it won't hold online. This is his Twitter. Won't hold online event to unveil this fiscal FY, so fiscal year's new releases around E3's timing because making assets ready for such show has become difficult due to COVID-19. Instead, it will announce new titles on an individual basis. So do not hold your breath there.
Kev, I just sent Assets a link to a tweet that I would like to bring up.
On it, boss man.
Thank you very much. So Jeff Grubb from VentureBeat, he has a lot of friends. He has a lot of knowledge, a lot of insights.
Ear to the ground, as kids say.
Exactly. And recently he tweeted on May 11th. God, this was only 2 days ago. I swear I saw this a year ago. On May 11th, he said, "Welcome to Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Mess." To play on Jeff Keighley's Summer Game.
I got it.
Then he goes through, and then Kev, can you click on the one with the Comic Sans? So there's the amazing logo. But if you go over, click the next link, boom. He has his little schedule of what he's thinking is going down for Summer Game Fest or the Summer Game Mess. All right.
Yeah.
And so far, some of this is cryptic, some of it is confirmed. But we got here the Inside Xbox. May 12th is the Blank Man. He then later followed up with the follow-up that once Tony Hawk was announced, it was a Birdman. He was leading people astray, thinking he was Batman. Tony Hawk, the Birdman. Yeah. It makes sense.
That was dumb. That's a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, he was having fun. I appreciate it.
I know. I'm fucking under.
Yeah, and then but June 2nd, Mel Gibson picture. Don't know what that means, but something's happening.
Passion of the Christ.
2nd. The video game,
Lethal Weapon.
But then June 4th is the slate of PlayStation. So that's the big one that he's kind of.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor. I've seen that. We did a thing on PS I Love You this week where we read the Push Square article that was referencing that too.
And I remember You're Wrong a couple days ago. I saw him reiterating, he's like, I'm doubling down on it. Like it's real.
Jeff Grubb, ear to the ground. That's why we call him the Grub. You know, Grub. He's always crawling around like a little Grub.
I like it. That's why we call him the Grub, not because it's his last name. But
that's how he got his last name. He used to be, Jeff Ramsey.
Gotcha.
I want you to know. Cleared the space, reached in for a name. It was literally like P. Tier Griffin. Fuck. Real person. God damn it.
But anyway, there's some fun stuff here. Again, most stuff we know, Guerrilla Collective, we know very intimately. That's us. Yeah. But then June 10th, Xboxing Day. So we got to imagine that's the hardware of the Xbox reveal that they're doing there. I got to be real. I forgot why I brought all this up.
We were having fun. We were talking about Animal Crossing.
That's why. Nintendo Direct all the way at the bottom at a September maybe. Are y'all motherfuckers telling me that we're not getting a Nintendo Direct until September?
They told you that. They were like, "Hey, man,
what the fuck did tell me that?"
They said they weren't going to do their E3 stuff. They're gonna.
They didn't say that. Someone else reported that. Someone else reported that they're not going to do a direct in June. Okay, June. What about July? What about August? You know what I mean?
July, you got to get out of the way of Iron Man VR.
I guess you're right, Greg. I guess you're right. You're making a lot of
all
sense.
month long, you dumb. Yeah. Tim, I'm sorry you won't be getting a Nintendo Direct until September. I'm also sorry that I need you to read the upcoming list. But I'm also sorry. Before then, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by Hims. What can I say about forhims.com? Of course, they've supported Kind of Funny for a long time. And, of course, Nick and Andy use forhims.com for their hair loss. They noticed their hair was thinning. They went to forhims.com. They got connected with a real doctor online without having to go to a waiting room or wait in a prescription line. The doctor talked to them. Looked at pictures of their hair, talked to them about their problems, and he prescribed generic equivalents to well-known prescription drugs. So number one, it was cheaper. Number two, they didn't have to go anywhere. And number three, it was super easy. And they started using them. You've heard, I don't even have to tell you, Nick steals Andy's gummies. Andy gets really mad about it. You've heard that story before. But more importantly, they worked, and they both said how great their hair looked. We agree their hair looks great, and they have their hair. That's how you know it's working. Because if forhims.com wasn't working, they wouldn't have hair. And that would be a problem. Of course, 66% of men start to lose their hair by the age 35. And once you start to notice thinning hair, it can be too late. Forhims.com, of course, is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness, and more for men. Of course, that's always important, right? They talk about all the time. There's some conversations that are easier to happen online than having to go to the doctor, wait in the waiting room, talk to the nurse, get into the thing. That's what they're driving at here. Hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness. Hims is helping guys be the best version of themselves with licensed physician and FDA-approved products to help treat hair loss. These aren't snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements. These are solutions backed by science that work for Tim and Andy. So connect with real doctors online. Right now, our listeners can get started with their first month for free. Go to forhims.com/gamesdaily. That's forhims.com/gamesdaily. Prescription requires an online consultation with a physician who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. The offer is valid only if prescribed. It's a 3-month minimum subscription. Additional restrictions apply. See the website for full details and safety information. Remember, that's forhims.com/gamesdaily. That sneeze tried to ruin the ad. I wasn't going to let it. You saw me fight through it. You know what I mean?
Fight through it.
A lesser host would have succumbed to it, but not me. I'll bottle it all up and just explode on the wall one day. Tim, if I wanted to know what games came out today, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host. Each and every
day. Yeah. Out today, Super Mega Baseball 3 is on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Potata Fairy Flower is on PS4 and Xbox One. Thy Sword is on Xbox One. Island Saver is on PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. She Sees Red, an interactive movie, is on Switch. Replicated is on PC. Green Project is on PC. Then a game wasn't listed on my list that I stole from Kotaku, as I always do, but the one and only Emmett Watkins Jr. tweeted me and said, I forgot to write in for KFGD this morning before work, but Greg, I just want to tell you that Deep Rock Galactic, made by at Join Deep Rock, is worth a look. It's Left 4 Dead meets Minecraft, and it releases on PC and Xbox today. It's one of my favorite co-op shooters I've ever played. That's a good pitch, Emmett, and I thank you for writing in. I will check this out.
A fun thing I want to add, Greg. This is definitely not an out today or a new date. It is just you can pre-order today. You can go to Amazon.com and get your pre-order for the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Collector's Edition.
Did you do this?
Did I what?
Did you do it?
Yeah, of course.
It comes with like a deck, doesn't it? I saw you tweet about it.
Yeah, it comes with the deck. And like
can you bring up Twitter so we can see it?
It was available for pre-order yesterday on GameStop, but when it was first put up, the prices were gouged for some reason, and I was like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. Then they fixed it, and then there was like shipping costs were insane. I'm like, I'm waiting for Amazon. It's officially up on Amazon, so you can actually get it there. But yeah, this is the first collector's edition of a game I've bought since the Halo 2 Steelbook. Normally, when I get games, I just want the game. I don't need this stupid ass bullshit coming with it.
I slacked you.
But I need this stupid ass bullshit for sure.
I read Tim's tweet reads, I haven't bought a fancy collector's edition of a game since Halo 2 and its beautiful steel case, but there is no way I miss out on this. And there it is.
Look at it. Are you kidding me?
You get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 full game, the digital deluxe edition content, the limited edition full-size birdhouse skateboard deck.
I love it, man. Also, look at that box art. Like, did I make that logo? Did I create those beautiful colors together.
You might have willed it into existence like every other one of your games you make happen.
This is insane. Like, what the fuck? Greg, here's the other thing that I want to say. I didn't really get a chance to talk much about Tony Hawk. Not enough. I can tell you that. Okay.
Sure.
This game, I was thinking about it, and like people have been talking. So who's making this? Vicarious Visions. What did they do recently? They remade Crash Bandicoot 1 through 3.
Oh.
What is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater known for?
Skateboard.
Secret characters.
Fuck.
Back when Neversoft also made Spider-Man, they put Spider-Man in Tony Hawk. Guess who's coming to Tony Hawk, baby?
Crash?
Yeah.
The Coot?
It's not official.
Take it to the bank. It's Tim's lifetime of dreams. So there you go. It's going to happen.
I'm going to play as Crash Bandicoot skating in the warehouse. Let's go, baby.
This is what we're talking about with Keep Your Expectations in Check. Also out today, it's the start of this Last of Us Part 2 documentary series on YouTube through Naughty Dog and PlayStation. Right now, it's a 4-parter. They put out today, May 13th, inside this story. It's about 5 minutes. I watched part of it and I was like, oh, no, you're starting to talk about stuff I don't want to know about. I'm out of here. And then May 20th is inside the gameplay. May 27th is inside the details. June 3rd is inside the world. So again, if you want more Last of Us right now, go for it. New dates for you. That Mafia trilogy thing we've been talking about forever through leaked whatever finally is officially teased by 2K. It's called Mafia Trilogy. There's a May 19th announcement for it. What a Cluster Fight is coming to Steam on May 25th. The next big update for PUBG hits PC servers on May 20th, with console and Stadia Live servers dropping May 26th. Legend of Keepers has a new update on Steam on May 18th. And then Magical Clay Boosted Island Adventure Scully launches August 4th on PC and consoles. Deals of the day for you. No Breaks Games and Curve Digital are hosting a special 24-hour 60% off charity sale of Human Fall Flat, which expires tomorrow, Thursday, May 14th, to help raise money for NHS charities. Together, I'm sorry, let me try that again because there's multiple. To help raise money for NHS charities together, Spanish Red Cross, Medical Institutions Support Fund, Lithuania, and the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Response Fund. 100% of all the revenue raised from Human Fall Flat sales on Steam, minus the store platform fees, will be donated to all 4 charities equally in the ongoing worldwide fight against COVID-19. Awesome. If you don't have, and we love Human Fall Flat, by the way.
Super fun.
They did a sponsorship with a long time ago because they liked us and we liked them, and the game's great and you should do it. You should support a great cause.
Mm-hmm.
Tim.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames telling me, hey, I want people to come play games with me. And I read your name, your username, your platform of choice, and all the rest. And you all go play games together and have a good time. Nobody wrote in for a new one. So instead, I'm telling you that guess what? Apex Season 5 has dropped. And Kind of Funny's own Andy Cortez will be streaming it tonight. Twitch.tv/Andy Cortez, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Go watch Andy probably play until 2 in the morning. And then he will watch Office episodes till 5:30 in the morning. Then he will be and then do that thing. You know what I mean?
Andy.
Yeah. I like Andy a lot.
I do too.
It's time for You're Wrong. Let's see what we messed up. You're, of course, you watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. And go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we messed up as we mess it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. I don't know what that's all about. That's not a You're Wrong. That's not a You're Wrong. Oh, did I? Ignacio Rojas says, during the ad read, Greg suggested that Tim is losing his hair. Tim's hair is full and beautiful. Did I say you instead of Nick?
You did. You said Tim and Andy are using it.
But I said Nick at some point in there, right? Though
you did. Yeah.
Okay, so and people know. All right, people trust me. You put Nick next to you, they're going to be like, oh, the old man. You know what I mean? No, I'm talking about him.
He has good hair.
That makes sense. I guess Andy's young. Basically, how can I insult Nick but not the sponsor? Nick sucks. That's it. Got it.
Don't worry. Good way. Fantastic. You
nailed it. All right, that's the show. We got a post show to do. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Of course,
that's a great show. Greg.
It was, and you knew it would be with all that news. Thursday, that's tomorrow. It's going to be Blessing and Tim. Friday, it's going to be me and Blessing. Remember, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. We love you. We appreciate you. Go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can get the post show we're about to do. You can get the show ad free. If you got no bucks, stars our way. You can watch on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, podcast services around the globe. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.